introduction to what you're going to see today. There are several big-name trainers in the business today who use natural horsemanship. John Lyons refers to it as training without trauma. The late Tom Dorrance said with horses you have to get their respect before you will get a response. Pat Pirelli teaches love, language, and leadership. Horses have a need for self-preservation. Sometimes humans become more like predators to the horse. Humans can interpret a horse's fear as resistance and try to force their will on a horse with instilling more fear and pain. That is the old way of training. In natural horsemanship, we speak the horse's language. All the best trainers have learned from watching other horses with each other, and they've learned their way of communicating. First and foremost is to build a relationship of trust and mutual respect. Once the horse understands by our actions that we are not here to hurt or force them into submission, but rather be a partner and leader to them, then the foundation of communication is established. Horses, like people, have different personalities. Our job is to figure out what personality our horse has. Approach and retreat is a strategy to use with horses who are fearful and reactive. They need to know they can get away. It helps them to become more comfortable with the object that scares them and makes them more confident. If they are fearful, they need you to take it slow and give them time so they can learn. Some horses are more confident and curious, and they need a different approach. The challenge with them is to keep them interested and not bored. They need to be able to use the thinking side of their brain, as this is true for all horses. Giving them tasks to do that make sense to them is important. If a horse gets reactive or fearful, giving them a task to do, like change of direction, gait changes, or going over an obstacle, helps them to get back to this thinking side of their brain. You must also be willing to change your strategy on a daily basis. Horses, like people, can have good days and bad days. If your normally confident horse becomes fearful and reactive, go with helping them through that with your friendliness towards them, your patience, and your leadership, so they know they are in good hands. In new situations, many horses become fearful, so it helps if they have to think through that rather than react. Tom Dorrance talked about setting up situations to help the horse be successful. He said, make the right thing easy and the wrong thing difficult. Horses learn by the release of pressure, whether it's pressure from your leg, the bit, or the halter. Horses want comfort. If they didn't get it quite right, you increase the pressure. Pressure, however, comes in phases from gentle to begin with to medium to heavier. A horse who seeks comfort quickly learns that the lightest pressure will earn them a release when they give the slightest try. You will see horses in the demonstration at different levels of their learning, requiring various amounts of pressure. But using the least amount to start with is how they learn.
Diane Nitzel is playing with her partner, RBF Kaseem. Kaseem is an 11-year-old Arabian gelding which she raised and trained herself. Kaseem used to be a very unconfident in unfamiliar environments and would try to crowd Diane on the ground as well as be unable to stand still. Riding, he was shy and bold when started, always had a lot more go than whoa. After Diane started using natural techniques, Kaseem has become very confident on the ground and is becoming more confident under saddle in new environments. Now that Kaseem is much more confident, she's also noticed that he's become more curious about his surroundings and likes to check things out, especially with his mouth.
Yeah.
He's also very playful and becomes bored easily. So Diane has to learn how to become much more interesting and constantly make the things they do more provocative. She's also found that he will put a lot more effort into trying new things when there's something in it for him. Diane says that he's a great problem solver. She can put him in a variety of situations where he has to think his way through them, and it's very interesting to watch him figure these things out. Kaseem has gotten to the point where he can walk down the road or on a trail with his trainers to develop a very light vertical flexion when ridden with light contact without the use of harsh bits, nose bands, front tails, fitting rigs, etc. and responds very willingly to the slight shifts in her weight and leg pressure. Diane and Kaseem are currently working on developing their dressage skills.